The Loose Pass Rugby Podcast with Huw Griffin.
Welcome to this instant reaction special episode of the Loose Pass Rugby Podcast. Our friend Huw Griffin is at the game. He watched 2 games in a row. But first and foremost, I need to ask him, you better be honest about this. France versus South Africa, who did you support?
I genuinely was supporting South Africa. As you can see, I'm wearing my Buller top. Shout out to the guys who came over and said to me, "Are you HG Rugby?" I said yes, and they said, "Yes, we know you from Megafoon Rugby." Shout out to those guys. I had a picture with them. There was 5 or 6 of them. Thank you so much. That made my day. Yes, I found myself during the game. You know, everyone knows I love French rugby, but during the game, I found myself shouting for Boks. Everyone around me was shouting for the Boks. Yeah, I would say the crowd was mostly South Africa fans, and even the neutrals. Obviously, as the game the way it went, everyone started cheering for South Africa by the end.
All right, you were at the game. Well, the first thing I noticed, the first thing I read online is it's a sellout crowd. I mean, the stands were full. What was the atmosphere like? I mean, was it really like World Cup matches?
The atmosphere is great. It is the Women's World Cup games. It's very relaxed. There's a lot more women than you normally have at a rugby match. A lot more kids, a lot more families, and it's just a good vibe. It's very friendly. It's very relaxed. Everyone's there to have a good time. There's a lot of people who don't maybe know as much about rugby or are watching rugby for the first time. Which, you know, we talk about growing the game, and clearly the women's game is growing the game in a way that the men's game has struggled to. So what's the atmosphere like? The answer is great. They're huge fun to come to. I'll be sad when it's over.
That was in Northampton. So yeah, let's talk about the game itself. The first thing you said to me when you're watching the game is this ref is frustrating you endlessly. Now, we don't bash refs on this channel, so let's make a note of that. But why did you say that? What did you see?
It's all about consistency for me. You know, like you said, we don't bash refs, so I won't go on about it. But I felt whether it was the scrum or the red card decision, which for me, I don't think was a red card. Yes, there was head contact, but for me, there was a lot of mitigation. Shall I show people where I am quickly, though?
Yes.
Just, the pitch is right here. I think you've got the French players signing pictures and things. Unfortunately, the Boks decided to vacate quickly. I can see Eloise Webb. I shall go and see if I can get her later.
Yeah, because we're going to interview you this week now.
That's the plan. Yeah, so it's not necessarily... Look, it would obviously change the result with the referee. I felt it was inconsistencies, not just within the game, but also to other games. I felt that the scrum was refereed differently to how I've seen it repped in other games. I don't think that was a red card, I'm going to be honest. I'm not being biased there. I felt there was a lot of mitigation. So yes, and I think a lot of people around, like for example, the last decision with the Roos try, amazing try. But before she gave that try, she made the hand gesture to rule it out. The no try hand gesture she made, and then she ran all the way down the other end of the pitch and gave the try. It was so confusing to everyone in the stands. So yeah, that's enough ref bashing. We don't like to lean into it, but yeah, it as a Boks fan, it was irritating.
Well, let me tell you, I've got Nadine Roos on the thumbnail saying that Nadine Roos is a superstar. That was born out today. That woman just plays rugby on the next level, doesn't she?
Yes, and she was up against a world-class opposite number today in Pauline Bourdon-Sansus, who was the official player of the match. For those who don't know French rugby, she's amazing. People call her the female Dupont. Of course, in South Africa, we call Roos the female Dupont. But she plays for Toulouse like Dupont. She captains like Dupont does. She's an excellent player. So to be up against that level of opposition, it was so fascinating because it was like a subplot. And for the first 30 minutes of the game, I swear the two were in touching distance the whole way. Each side's games revolves around their number 9. So for Roos to go up against that level of opposition, and by the end of the game, the people who don't know the players, don't know the history, people who were nudging each other and saying, South Africa's number 9 is their best player. And that's people who've never watched them before. And I think she never gave up. She kept going. Yeah, I think the scoreline is a bit harsh on the Boks. I will say, for me, that's the best that France have played in a long time. In a long time. So take solace in that if you can, because they've been they've not been an 80-minute team. They can play like that in fits and spurts, but that's the best I've seen them play for a whole game. So I think, you know, if nothing else, you're beaten by a very good team today. And I think France will be very, very happy after this result.
Other players that stood out for you, for me, number 7, Catha Jacobs, stood out. She was very good for me. And of course, Eloise Webb, like you just mentioned, we're going to be interviewing her later this week. She also stood out for me. Anything else? Beandre Dolph, once again, that little diminutive figure, but what a player.
Dolph, I think, really impressed me watching her in person. A player that maybe is less spoken about, but I thought that she was superb in this game. I thought her positioning in the backfield as well is not the kind of thing that you'll hear get talked about a lot. I thought that her positioning in the backfield was absolutely spot on. She made some great decisions, and she was brave the whole game, which is great as well. Trying to think who else. Obviously, Hele, while she was on. Mbumba, I think the number 23 when she came on made a real impact. Great game line. I love watching her play. So yeah, it's not all negative. I hope that people don't see the score line and think, oh, it's all negative. You're up against a very, very good team today. Obviously, Umsweis rotated a bit. I saw him after the game. He didn't want to talk. So I think he was a bit upset after this one. But, we talked about it last week, didn't we? We said, are they going to go all out for this game, or are they going to have one eye on the quarterfinal? And for me, I think they had one eye on the quarterfinal.
Yeah. Well, like you said, what lessons can we take? Next Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we're playing New Zealand. And New Zealand demolished Ireland earlier today, 14-0. And Ireland is a good team themselves, like you said. So what are we up against? What can we take from this game?
You need to just take it as learning. And, I think it's a cliche that people don't like. But I think you played in a team now that is similar to the Blackburns level. I think the Blackburns are better. But you played to that level. If Libby Jans van Rensburg wasn't playing this week, if you told me that Umsweis had said to her, take a seat and study the Blackburns for 2 weeks, I'd believe you. So I think you need to be prepared. The kind of troubling thing for the Boks today was the scrum went backwards. Now we can talk about the refereeing of the scrum and the interpretation, but I think on balance, I think France were on top on the scrum. I think they were the better scrummage team, which when you're the Springboks and that's what you hang your hat on, I think that's tough. So they need to fix that up. So I can hear the music going in the background. It's going to be a huge challenge. I think you need to give people something to take home. You've played the Blackburn 15 already, and you know what they're kind of like. So the Blackburn 15 that you beat is going to be not as good as the regular Blackburn team, obviously. However, they are going to be similar. So if I'm Umsweis, I'm saying, look, you've spaced that level now. You know what to expect, and you are familiar with the Blackburn way of playing because you faced it in 2 games in July, August already. So that's just one of those things that every time that we've seen the Springbok women play a team of a higher level, we've seen them get better the next time they play them. So that's what we've got to hope for this time. It's going to be a massive challenge. I don't think anybody's going to be expecting the Springbok women to beat the Blackburns, but imagine the interest that they can generate by rattling them, by scoring a couple of tries against them. So, yeah, the one thing that I didn't see in this game that we saw against Italy was the bespoke set moves, like that amazing try that we saw against Italy. There was nothing like that in this game. Now, part of that is that the platform wasn't there from the set piece, at least in the scrum anyway. I thought the line out mostly went okay. But I don't think that they put as much into this game as they did the Italy game, if I'm being honest. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that they've already started planning for the Blackburns.
Just on the subject of Libby Jansen van Rensburg, she's a 10, of course. And Nadine Roos played everywhere except prop. I think this week she also, second half, she played at 10. And she started at 9, moved to 10. Last week she started at 15 and then moved to 9. I mean, this player is just too talented. What's going to happen next week? Started at 9 and play Libby at 10, do you think?
I think that next week, the best that we've seen South Africa women play is with Roos at 15 to start with, and they're moving to 9 in the second half. That's what I would like to see going into next week personally, because you've got to bring Libby in. Wherever Roos is standing is where the ball is going. And I felt that South Africa might have been better served at times to go to tie today. We saw in games up until now, when they just do pick and goes, they can make serious ground that way. Now, they were up against a much more physical team in France than what they're used to playing against. But for me, I would have liked to see the Boks go a bit tighter today. I think they went a bit wide, a bit too much. And to be completely honest with you, France have got some of the best wide players, attacking players in the world. So they were always going to lose those one-on-ones, unfortunately. That's just the truth of where the two teams are at the moment. So For me, I would like to see Roos start at 15 with Libby at 10 and then move to 9.
Just talk to me lastly about that last final try that Nadine Roos scored. Lots of anticipation, tension, the crowd screaming at the refs, allow the try. But she went through the motions. Almost felt to me like she was looking for a reason not to award it. She initially said that there was the player running interference was bumped the other player out of the way. And then I think she hurt the crowd to a degree and then sort of backpedaled. And then gave a very funny sign to actually indicate that the try wasn't awarded and ran all the way back to the post, like you said earlier, and then awarded the try. Talk to me about the crowd reaction there, because that actually gave me goosebumps.
Yes, the crowd was very, if I get my high horse for a second, it would have made no difference to the game, made no difference to anything. Both teams have already qualified. Points difference isn't a concern. It doesn't matter. It's fine. So why? And then the number of times, you see one of those where if you have to watch the replay 20 times, it's not clear and obvious, is it? So just give the try. It would have made no difference. Sorry, the player about to walk past me is Morgane Bourgeois, plays 15 for France and for Bordeaux, and she's one of my favourite women's players in the world. She's just there. Yes, and the crowd was like, "Come on, ref, just give it." I won't go back to bashing the ref, but yes, and it was confusing the way she seemed to indicate that it wasn't given and then gave it anyway. Yeah, sometimes I feel like the refs just needs to have a bit of empathy for the game and for the spectacle, and just go, look, makes no impact whatsoever. The Boks deserve a try. Everybody in the crowd wants to see a try. Everybody sat at home wants to see a try. It makes no difference to anything. Just give it, So that's my 2 pence worth, as we say.
Just sorry, I said lastly, but now this is lastly. You phoned me up or WhatsApped me earlier and said, "Listen, I know 3 Afrikaans words, one of which I can't repeat in public." Did you have to put that to use today using your Afrikaans, very limited Afrikaans vocabulary?
No, I didn't. All I had to say was "Go Bokke." That's as close as I got. I didn't have to say. I didn't have to say. I got my photo with Joanne Grise, and I did say bonjour and merci to her, which she appreciated, I think. So yeah, that's as close to speaking a foreign language as I got.
Oh, we'll make a plan for you. Okay, you, thank you, man. We'll have another Loose Pass episode on Monday this week for a variety of reasons. Watch out for that. We'll publish Monday night. So thanks for that. And thanks for doing this for us. I mean, just really appreciate it.
Cheers, man. Really appreciate it.
The Loose Pass Rugby Podcast with Huw Griffin.